Welcome to the Gospel Liberty Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We have an episode today about parenting, and we're going to be talking about giving kids choices versus deciding things for them. When should we give them choices? When should we decide? What do you think our culture in modern day 21st century America, what do you think parents are more likely to do? To give their kids choices or to make choices for them?
I mean, I definitely think in 21st century America, parents want to let their kids decide whatever they would like. Mm-hmm. You know, what do you want to eat? What do you want to snack on? What activities do you want to do?
What do you want to wear?
What do you want to wear? I mean, yeah,
what hairstyle do you want to have?
Yes.
What do you want to watch or what
or just say
what
do you want to do with your time? Or it's a Saturday. What show do you want to watch? Right? I mean, I think there's so many different things.
Even you know, the most important decisions are extremely important decisions. Like, do you like the school, or where do you want to go to school, or even I've heard of some situations where parents ask, where do you want to live? Mm-hmm. So just do you like this house? You know, just the most extreme types of choices, all the way down to other things that we were talking about. Just like you said, do you want a TV in your room? When do you want a cell phone? These types of things.
Or I want a cell phone, therefore, oh, sure, here you go. Mm-hmm. We'll get you one.
Right, exactly. So I think that there's ditches on both sides here. If as a parent, you never allow your kids to make any choices, mm-hmm. or if you allow them to make any choice that they want to have. So what are some helpful guardrails or helpful things to think about that you think would be helpful that's been helpful for us as we have parented our 4 kids, or that you think are wise in what parents should consider as far as what choices they should allow their kids to make versus what choices they should choose for them?
Well, I mean, that's like a massively loaded question. So I mean, I think that I think that it's okay. We're not saying don't let your kid have any decision or don't let them make any choice. But I think that there is a way to lovingly lead them along in certain choices or decisions, where you can maybe give them 2 options or give them 3 options. Or of course there's going to be times when they're not going to be able to, I don't run a restaurant. I mean, I can't, cater to every single meal, right?
So for dinner, for example.
Yeah, maybe for lunch, sure. If I'm able to, then I would love to serve my kids and provide different things for the children. I not that I do that every single mm-hmm. day, but there are times that I do.
You might say, for snack, do you want an apple or do you want peanuts, for example?
Totally. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think that for obviously for bigger choices or, bigger decisions for the family, I don't think that it's necessarily good to just let your kid just decide anything that they want. I don't think that would be good for them. And I don't think that would be good for the parents or the family.
Let's go through a case study here and talk about an example. Let's talk about clothing. So how much freedom is wise to give children in clothing choice? Say let's just to have a specific example, an 8-year-old. Do you think that it's wise for parents to take their kids? So, where do you want to go shopping for your clothes? Mm-hmm. You need new clothes. They're all they don't fit you anymore. What store do you want to go to? Do you think that's wise? Or what type of clothes do you want to wear? Do you want to wear, super baggy jeans? What colors do you want? Do you want to wear orange jeans? Do you want to wear, black shorts? Do you want to wear shirts with, logos on them or whatever it is?
No, I mean, I think that there's so many different factors to consider, because you have to consider, how expensive is it? I mean, what is the budget? Okay. So, I mean, yeah, a parent would have to be aware of what the budget is. And then if they're letting their child decide where they want to get their clothes from, then, I mean, sure, if they have endless money, then yeah, maybe some parents would let their child decide. I think that it's also something to talk about with the kid, maybe what their interests are. It's not that you don't want to hear anything that my child has to say. I would love to hear what type of clothes they like to wear. I would love to see if it would be something that I would be able to accommodate and serve them in. So I'm not necessarily wanting to come across like some dictator, but I also I'm not going to let my child dress like a crazy person. So I think that there's just certain things to consider when, when doing it. But I think that it's also something like where, okay, I'm the one purchasing the clothes for the family primarily, and I can then, lead the child into a certain wardrobe, for example. So, my 8-year-old, has free reign to go up and pick whatever he wants to wear every single day because I'm the one who purchased all the things. And I think that what he has in his closet or his dresser is great.
But then if he came down and he had shades of color of clothes, imagine there's a light green shirt in his wardrobe and totally. Dark green shorts.
Yes.
And then, he comes down and he's wearing both of those at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I think that it depends on what's happening. One, are we going out? What is the event? What is the occasion that we're going to? Are you just hanging around in your house? Are you playing in the backyard? Are you going to the park? Are you, going to a fancy dinner? Are you going to the worship service? Are you going out to a family dinner? I mean, there's so many different things to consider in what you would let your child to wear. Yeah, maybe it's okay. Maybe my 4-year-old comes down and he, really wants to wear something that doesn't match. But, we're just hanging out at the house all day. Great. Good job getting dressed, buddy. What a great thing. And then you can let him have some freedom and wear whatever he wants. Or maybe we are going out to a family dinner and they come down and they're wearing, 2 colors that aren't matching. And then I would recommend, hey, actually, can you go switch your shorts? Or can you get different pants on? Or, let's switch your top, know.
So, and I think that's the folly of our culture in many ways, is that parents have so elevated freedom of choice and allowing their kids autonomy where they no longer teach their kids what is true, good, and beautiful. So
I was going to say, so often parents fall into just wanting to be liked.
Yes.
They're a parent and they want their child to like them.
Yes.
So not that of course I want my child to like me.
But
that's not my ultimate goal. And so I want
to
love my child by helping them and serving them. And I think that if you have this wonderful, gracious, loving environment, yet also rearing them and teaching them along and discipling them and teaching them maybe what's normal in our culture. And there's a lot of other things, not necessarily only, deep theological issues that are good to discuss with your child. And then I think that as they continue to learn and grow and have respect for their parents and want to honor them as Christ has called them to, I would hope that, if I lovingly tell my 9-year-old to go change his clothes, that he would respond in a way that is God glorifying.
Right. Because he knows that you're trying to guide him and teach him. We are trying to guide him and teach him and also our, all of our kids into what is true, good, and beautiful. And when it comes to clothing, we don't only care about functionality and we don't only care about choice. We care about lots of different things. We care about functionality. We care about the aesthetic as far as what it looks like, about the appropriateness for the context, as far as, if you're going to a nicer restaurant or if you're going to go work in the yard, there's going to be different types of clothes that you wear. Or if what is considered a nice restaurant in, East Asia, you might wear something totally different than a nice restaurant if you're in the United States. So you have to think about all these things. And what we're trying to do as parents is, what we should be trying to do is coach and lead our children into what is God glorifying clothing choices. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to have the exact same taste, because there can be multiple different tastes that are God glorifying, but you should be considering what is beautiful and what is appropriate and what is functional and what is cost effective and what's going to be loving to your neighbor. So a lot of these different things. So,
and if we're staying on the clothing thing, another thing too is you have to think of, if you can think of the quality, or wanting to be, pass it down to the next kid.
Something
might
to
fit,
last, that's
I want to
timeless.
make sure that yes, it might be, $5 more expensive now, but then, hopefully it can go through a few kids, to not have to feel like you're always just buying junk clothes and then they get ripped and torn. And then, great, now I have to, go buy all these other clothes.
And so much of this is tied to another episode that we want to do in the future at some point, is an individual identity versus a communal identity. And should we be thinking of ourselves primarily as individuals who are free from all ties to community, or as our identity is a part of whatever certain community? And there's a both and type of answer to that question as far as how we should be thinking of ourselves. Yes, we are distinct individuals, but we are also a part of certain communities. We're part of our family. If we work a job in the marketplace, we're a part of that company. If we're a part of a church, then that we have a communal identity that's tied to that church. We have that's tied to our state, our city, whatever it is. So when we are thinking about how, if we want to give our kids just complete free choice when it comes to dress, that is elevating individual identity above the communal identity of the family. That no, you're representing not only yourself when you choose what to wear, you are a part of something bigger than yourself. You're a part of a family. And as children are younger, they need more and more direction. This is going to be, a theme as we continue this episode. As children are younger, they need more and more direction. They need more and more the parents making the choices for them.
Yeah.
And then as they get older and older, you slowly lift the hand.
Yes.
Because you've trained their mind and you've trained their heart, hopefully to love Christ and the scriptures, and to go to the scriptures for all things, and to help them to navigate the world in wisdom and in God glorifying wisdom. So then you slowly release the hand of making choices for them, so that when they are adults and they're 14, 15, 16, 17, they have been prepared to make these type of choices that are glorifying to God, that are honoring to their family, that's honoring to fellow Christians, that's loving unbelievers, etc.
Yeah, and it's so tied. This exact thing it's so tied to so many other things, obviously, which it's not like it's only for clothing.
We're just
That's
using that as one example.
But even just teaching them about food and teaching them about how to spend their time,
what
and
time
teaching,
to go to bed.
Yes, I mean there's there's just so many things that you can just apply the scriptures to the children's lives, and to just talk to them about these things. Again, if they aren't hearing it from you, who else are they going to hear it from?
Yeah, they're going to hear it from
they're
their
going to hear it from
peers.
other people, maybe, but or maybe so many people don't even think about these things.
Correct.
So maybe they aren't even aware of. Oh yeah, how should I? What activity? Is one different or one better? Or our family likes these things, and of course you already said this. So many different families have different cultures, different tastes, so they're going to be involved in different activities.
Yes.
But even food is such a big conversation too, just because. There are more God glorifying foods than others in a sense, because some are healthier than others. It's not,
and some taste better than others. So you can enjoy unhealthy foods to the glory of God. You're not saying you can't do that, but how we eat, we need to eat to the glory of God. And if you are just, what you're saying is if your diet is full of just donuts.
Well, and if it's all the time, if it's just all the time, you're just giving your kid whatever they want, and you're just buying food, junk food or whatever.
Cheetos, stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to be a good situation for their own little bellies,
right.
and just as they get old, there's just so many things, as they get older and as they think about things and that they want to care for their bodies. And even, sure, when you're 5, yes, you want, the metabolism is better. But you still want to care for their body, and they want them to learn to care for their body to the glory of God.
Right. Teach them how to eat to the glory of God. This is why we eat healthy. And yes, we also enjoy God's good gifts, which is, it's can be very God glorifying to have a dessert in moderation as well. So what about from an activity perspective? So this is something that comes up very often where you hear parents say, oh, our daughter is doing, let's just say our daughter's doing dance, and one of our sons is in football, the other son is in basketball, and another daughter is in a chess club or whatever it is, and enter various activity. And, she didn't like this activity, so, we're switching it up. And then on Mondays, mom is driving the sons to football and dad is driving the other son to basketball. Then they have to quickly drop off their daughter at dance. and the family is all split up, and it's because they're letting their kids choose the activity. What do you like, honey? What do you want to do? And or the child started doing baseball and now he doesn't like it, so now you just say, okay, you don't like it anymore, you're not going to do it anymore. How do we balance in biblical wisdom when we say, oh, okay, that makes sense, yep, we need to make a change from an activity perspective, with no, you don't get a choice, this is our family activity and this is what you're going to do. What are your thoughts?
Well, no, and I think a lot of people will hear what you just said. No, this is our family activity. You're not going to do it, and be like, "What? This is utter craziness." But
because of the state of our society.
Because of the state of our society, and because it's just so foreign for people to hear that. I think that you might say something similar to that, but it's also like there's so many steps before that were to happen. You know, that you're talking about this activity, you're maybe exposing your kid to the activity, you're talking about how great the activity is, you're playing the activity and you want to play with your child. So it's like this whole positive movement about this activity in a family to show and to demonstrate to the family just how great the activity might be, because you're kind of knowing and you're planning for this activity to hopefully be a part of your family, or just what's available.
This is a part of our family culture.
Yeah.
Our family culture are piano players.
Yes.
So,
we have a piano in the house. Yep. And so, the oldest kid already plays piano, but okay, we want to just keep teaching all the other kids piano. Oh, and maybe daddy played piano. And so it's just this whole thing that everyone wants to be, connected to and just be doing the same thing. And now I can bring, all three of the kids to piano lessons, or, whatever it may be, where then everyone can be together and it's not the same activity. It's not, one kid going here and the other kid going there and the mom going this way and all, the whole separation thing.
So what we're doing, and this is what we advocate for, is helping to guide your kids' affection towards certain things that are God glorifying. Of course, you want all of their affections to be towards the Lord and towards things that the Lord loves. You don't want their affections to be moved to things that are sinful, towards violence, wicked violence, or I love stealing, or whatever that is. So if it's something that can be glorifying to God, take piano for example. We're on that topic. If both the parents, played piano in high school and they're very good piano players or whatever, then what you would want to do is if that's what you have chosen, this is how the Lord has gifted your mom and I, and He has made us talented piano players. We are very knowledgeable, and we want to pass this on to the next generation of our 5 kids, whatever it is. Then the way to do that would be to talk about the beauty of the Lord in this particular activity and how exactly this glorifies God, and set it before your children as wonderful and beautiful. If that's what you've chosen, we want to pass this on to our children. So then they don't see it as a burden. It's not like you're tricking them, because it shouldn't be a burden. It should be a beautiful thing. What an unbelievable gift that both of your parents are expert piano players, and you get to learn from them, and you get to have lessons and have piano in your house and access to music. Yeah, it should be a great thing.
100% amen. And also the child should be unbelievably thankful if they can do any activity at all. I mean, I think that that's a huge error in our culture of just like this, entitlement mentality of like, of course I'm going to be doing multiple activities, and if I don't get my
way, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. It's going to be bad. So it's like hopefully the parents, godly parents, should be training their children and teaching them just the joys and the importance of being thankful.
Yes.
And to not think that they just deserve to be in all these amazing activities multiple times a week, and now you get to do whatever you want to do because it's all about you.
Right.
No, you should, hopefully the children's hearts are changed and they can see just how much they actually deserve and what they're getting, and just are understanding the gospel in such a deeper way that they would be just so thankful to their parents for even allowing them to be a part of any activity that is, available to them.
So then If it is in a very unlikely chance, say that the parents are, say the parents are expert downhill skiers, they both did it in college or whatever it is, and they want love the examples.
I love the examples.
They want their kids to be downhill skiers as well. So they want that to be a part of their family culture, and they want to stick together as a family. They don't want, our kids are in all different activities, and I miss, my kids' downhill skiing competition because I'm off over here, and our family's totally separate. This is, tied to, once again, another episode that we want to do about building family cohesion is very tied to this as well, which I think is one of the problems with the familial culture in modern day America, and why so many families have been torn apart, because people go their separate ways.
Yes.
They train their kids from very young to go their separate ways. Then they are, instead of having things in common, and of course you want to have the deepest things in common, Christ and the gospel and the biblical worldview. I'm not saying you can't have things in common as a family if one person likes skiing and one person likes basketball. But also if you are separating from one another and you rarely spend time together, the parents don't see their kids that much, that's going to all contribute to having a family that later on is growing apart more and more and more.
Yes.
So if you're in this situation and the parents want to have their kids be in the culture of downhill skiing, and they all go to practice together, they're all teaching at their various age groups, whatever, they go to the same ski place. And then imagine one son, young Johnny, age 8, says, "I don't like skiing. I don't want to do it anymore." And the parents have tried to build this culture of skiing is beautiful. Here's how we can do it to the glory of God. Here's the type of character qualities it's teaching. Here's how you should be, treating your fellow competitors and your coaches, and it's a beautiful thing. And then he still says, "I don't want to do this." Then what do we do? What's the situation? How do we move forward? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's a bummer for Johnny. I feel sad for Johnny that Johnny, wouldn't be super excited about it, because, he should be thankful that he can, have an activity to play, or I don't know. I mean, it's hard because it's like, sorry, Johnny, the whole family's going to go downhill skiing. And so, what are you going to do? Just come and just sit in the warming house? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
So here's another way to think about it. What if you're trying to teach your kids math and they say, I don't want to do this.
Oh, sorry, buddy. We're doing math.
Correct. So everyone clearly understands, at least in America, right then and there, that makes the point that there are some things that the kids don't have a choice about. They don't have a choice whether or not they're going to learn how to read. They don't have a choice if they're going to learn math. So then it goes in the question of, okay, what category is this in? Is this something that they should have a choice about? Or is it something that they shouldn't have a choice about? And, our contention is that they should not have a choice at that young of an age what activity they're going to do, because they don't know what's best for them. Just because they don't like...
Johnny's 8, he's said, 8. Right? Yeah.
Just because he doesn't like something in the moment doesn't mean that that's not what is going to cause long-term joy in Christ and what's going to be the best thing for his life. So he doesn't know, if you it's the same thing putting vegetables on your kid's plate.
Yeah.
Johnny doesn't like broccoli, or he doesn't like spinach or whatever, and this is a part of our dinner. Well, do you just say, oh, he doesn't like it, so therefore he's not going to do it? No, this is a part of your dinner. At one day you will see it differently. And I think of, yes, of course, some parents we're not talking about these slave driver parents who force their kids to, become Division I athletes, and they're yelling at them and they're making it, a horrible situation. And, oh, I just hate downhill skiing because my parents pushed me so much. And, oh, I just wish I could. And my parents made my life horrible because they just drove me. I never wanted to do it. That's not at all what we're talking about. It's a matter of, once again, creating this culture of joy. And we had a situation at an activity we were at with our kids the other night.
I was just gonna say this.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
So and the mom said to us, yeah, she's gonna be her daughter is gonna be a freshman in high school, and she realized she had just had a conversation with her daughter, and the daughter said, I'm sad because I never stuck with anything. I did so many activities.
I tried so many new things. I always just was trying a new activity.
I did them all for 1 year. And she was exposed to a lot of different things. But then she said, Mom, I'm not good at anything.
Now I'm a freshman and I'm not even good at anything.
I'm a freshman. I'm not. And she got exposed to certain things, but she wished that she would have stuck with, at least one activity. And become, I'm not talking about Division I or, future professional or whatever, but just that, this is something that I am skilled at.
Yes.
And it's a part of being a Christian is becoming excellent at something for the glory of God. Whatever you're going to do for your vocation, you should become excellent at that. If you have certain hobbies, you should become excellent at those things. And that is, and then the mom was saying, I wish I would have made her do this, stick with this one activity when she was younger, because she would have appreciated it more. And that's what we're saying, is that kids don't always know what's best for them.
Yes.
So yes, we're not saying that you shouldn't take your kids' thoughts into account, but ultimately you need to make the choice and say, just because my child doesn't like this right now, or he or she said that she doesn't, well, this is our family activity. This is, we have 4 or 5 generations of piano players, or we go back 3 generations of basketball players. And, we've studied this, and the Lord has given us gifts in this area. We have the body type for this certain activity or sport. So this is what we're going to do. And then maybe when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, then maybe at that point we'll give you the choice. So then you can decide to continue it or not.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I have just so many questions, because it's, there's so many different things. What if you homeschool? What if you are a part of a Christian school? Okay, what if you go to a government school? I mean, what age is it? In elementary school, in middle school, in high school, there's...
What age is what exactly?
For all of these things, for homeschool, you're not necessarily you have to be a part of all these activities.
Right.
At the government school, what do they have sports for elementary? I mean, at the Christian school that
More
I went
through
to,
a city.
there weren't any elementary sports or activities really. It was more just started in 7th grade you could be on a sports team. So it's also maybe it's just a deeper podcast for another time, but how interesting is that? That sure, there were certain events that I went to, or church events or other things, but wasn't super involved in all these sports activities when I was growing up. And I don't think that every other person was like you, where you were involved in a lot of sports growing up either. So, that's just something interesting.
Yes.
Isn't that so interesting that all the different avenues of things that are available? Now I know a lot of homeschooling families who they are involved in other activities in sports because they aren't going to some school, where their kid is around a bunch of other children their age, right?
So they choose an extracurricular activity.
So they are choosing extracurricular activities because it's another fun outlet for them to be able to do that because they're home being educated.
Learning a skill, interacting with other folks, etc.
But and I wonder if that's also different with our culture now, where the activities have massively increased in today's culture versus however many years ago when we were growing up. It was not the norm, I think, for a lot of people to be involved in activities. That was a really privileged thing to be able to be a part of even a city league.
Yes.
Where now it seems pretty much the norm for people to be.
So many options.
There's so many options, and clubs and sewing club and art club and
if you live in a major American metropolitan area, there's pretty much any option,
jiu-jitsu, any option you want to do for your kids is available.
Whereas and that is a good thing.
Yes.
It's a good thing to have choices, but it's a bad thing to be enslaved to those choices where you feel like you are missing out if you don't experience every single thing, because you'll live your life in a perpetual state of discontentment.
Yes.
If you think you need to try every single thing before you can be satisfied. We talked about this a little in our last episode about, do we need to experience everything in order to understand? Do you need to, what if you only played when you were young, you played baseball, basketball, and swimming, and then you just you're 21 years old and you think, I could have been, a top 5 player in the world at football, but I never played it. So now I should quickly join an adult football league because I only have a couple years left where I can play. And then you're just, but then I never tried this. I never tried that. Yes, it can be a good thing to expose yourself to, the many different wonderful things about the Lord's creation. But also it's a good thing to stick to something and to become excellent at that thing for the glory of God.
Yeah. And also for all of this, it's not like we are saying for the activities to drive and be the main family culture. Again, yes. You need to be wise in all of this and be aware of the time that the Lord has given you throughout the week and what other things that you're involved in, or just what the family life is in the evenings and, Saturday, the Lord's Day, whatever. I think that that's a huge thing too, to not just think, you want to schedule out your entire child's upbringing so that you never have any home time, you never have any family time together. No, you want to have also a good amount of unscheduled time where you can be together, you can get together with other people. You don't want to, have just your whole life planned away with activities, every single evening.
Exactly. And that's another thing of, do we let our kids drive the choices? If we think that, do we let our kids drive the decision making? So if our kid really loves baseball and he wants to join the baseball league that's 6 nights a week and he's really good or something, you have as a parent, you have the freedom to say, no, I don't, we're not going to do that baseball league because because of whatever reason, because we want to prioritize this for the glory of God. Our family culture is not going to be all these different activities or focusing on this one activity. So the point of this episode is to say that as a Christian parent, as a parent, you should be thinking about what the family culture is that you want to build for the glory of God. How can you most effectively love your children, love your neighbor, glorify Christ? And that means that there's going to be many things that your kids don't get to decide. And there's going to be some things that your kids do get to decide.
Oh, totally.
Just like you said. And as we said earlier, as they get older and older, you want to lift the hand, which is the opposite of what modern American parents do. And modern American parents have done the reverse, where when the kids are young, they let them make tons of choices and they hardly, direct them in anything. You get to choose what your hairstyle is going to be, what clothes you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what activities you're going to be involved in. And then when they become 15, 16 years old, then the child has become someone crazy and they're
bringing the reins.
The worldview is so different and the clothing is so much different than what the family is used to, and the type of lifestyle and living and
the disrespect. There's just so many things, and then the parents are they're in shock. Oh my, we only have so many years left. We need to start, reeling them in now.
Yes. So then they clamp down on the kids and take away all these choices, and then that creates a household with war and tension, because if you're 15, 16 years old, you're preparing to leave the nest, to leave the house. And it's interesting how that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing, which is, no, this is what our family is about for the glory of God. And this is our family culture. And this is what we're going to do. And hopefully teaching them to love it for the glory of Christ, and show them how you can glorify Christ and being a piano player or downhill skier or eating this food or whatever it is, so that as they grow older, they love it and appreciate it. And you're building family cohesion. So don't be afraid to make decisions for your children and to direct them in the way that you think is going to be most glorifying to God, and build that family cohesion for the glory of Christ and for a multi-generational legacy. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Gospel Liberty Podcast.